I'll pay my dues.
I feel like the last panel was a really great setup for us because it was about brand love.
Yes.
Now, if you have any idea what Smartsheet is as a B2B tech SaaS company, you might be wondering how do you engender brand love in that space. And I'm going to tell you, we manage workflows for large enterprise companies. In so doing, we enable users to be in their flow. Is anyone familiar with the idea of flow states? So Stephen Kotler and Mihai Csikszentmihalyi sent me hi. So one of the triggers to get into a flow state is actually to take on a task that you don't feel qualified to do. In today's work environment, what that means is you're going to have to take on tasks if you're going to be in flow that you don't feel qualified to do. Someone else is going to have to do, or something else is going to have to manage those other tasks for you. And that's what our collaborative work management platform enables you to do. Because it does that, it engenders actually a massive amount of brand love that they were talking about. Our customers are rabid fanatics of what we were able to do for them. And we're actually launching a new campaign. I felt like someone was sending me a signal there. Maybe he wasn't talking to me. Our customers, we're here launching a campaign called Where Work Flows, Tales of the Improbable, which is the stories of our customers. So it's just the truth about what our customers experience on our platform. Now, I'm under no illusion that our platform engenders more brand love than a pet.
Close.
We met each other yesterday, in actual fact, and he obviously has pets, probably a requirement for your job, right?
It's highly suggested or encouraged. It helps.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I don't know, who has a pet here? Did anybody else have to put their pet into boarding before they came here? So I have to do that every time I travel. And there's at least where I take my pet, there's a little form you have to fill out that says if something goes wrong, how much money would you be willing to spend without us calling you? And it's a lot. Let's just say it's a lot. And here's why. Can you just go to the next picture? So that's Una. That's my 110-pound Anatolian Shepherd, who literally has a hold on my heart like nobody else. And this is what...
The outfit is on point.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's amazing. Jump to the next one, if you. And those are your two.
Yes, these are my two pups. Hi, I'm Fernando Silva. These are halibut and sardine, my miniature dachshund and my whippet. And I'll explain later, but
okay.
Finish it.
So the point is if brand love is what we're going for, I don't know that there's any better category to demonstrate brand love than with your pets. There is an irrational attachment to making sure that you're doing the right thing for your pets. So super excited to talk with you. We met yesterday.
Likewise.
We're already going on vacations together. So hopefully it'll be great. So Fernando, I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit. I'll do all the stuff that you might be too humble to do, and then you can do all the other stuff. How about that?
Sounds great. Thank you.
So the elevated VP of Marketing at Mars Petcare. You've been there over 17 years, various roles, sales in different parts of the world and the country. You're currently responsible for Caesar Cuisine, dogs, and Shiba cat food. And the other thing I figured out, which after you told me about this, we got to talk about this. So he's a very passionate fisherman. So as a lover of animals...
That could be the topic of the chat, and I'll be happy.
So now I'm like, do you throw the fish back after you catch them? Do you keep them as pets?
I return them.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, because
I kiss them and
then say
thank
goodbye
them for their service in my mental health.
Okay, good.
Put them back in the water.
So, anything else that you would love to say about your role and why you love your job so much?
I love my job so much, and the company. Clearly, being 17 years there, I think I don't know if I told you this story yesterday. That once I was, well, no, more than once, but talking to a headhunter once. They told me, hey, you're starting to reach that time frame where you've been too long in a company and you're going to be seen outside as a Martian, like too committed to it. And I had to come to terms whether that was something that I really wanted or that I should put something else in my career. And the reality is that the company has given me the opportunities to keep learning, keep having fun, experiencing, and I love it. I've clicked with the company. I love what I do. Working for a brand that sells dog food and cat food is fun, and quite frankly, I think we have not reached the limit. I know you wanted to talk about because you started with how much would you be willing to pay, right? Or what is the limit? And the reality is that this category is so emotional, so emotional that I can't say the sky is the limit, but there's so much to go. People leaving their pets behind and feeling guilty for it, or people wanting to bring their pets here and wanting to have a good experience with them, or making sure that they're making the best nutrition decisions. All of those things are almost comparable to baby category, where you are in this stage where whatever it takes, you're going to give it for them, but in the life of the pet, it lasts all of it, which is magical. So I love it.
That's great.
I love what I do.
So as I told you, there's an interview question, which there's some of my team here that I ask everyone when I interview, which is if I gave you 3 adjectives that best describe your personal brand, what would you say?
It's a tough question. I think describing yourself is probably the hardest. I thank you for the heads up. Collaborative is one that I aspire to or try to be intentional about. Passionate. I think I like fishing or the company. When I commit to something, I'm locked. I'm passionate and I stay there. In a different setting, probably I would have said creative. I think I'm more of a creative wannabe, but in a place like South by Southwest, surrounded by truly creative and talented people, I think I'm gonna switch that to decisive because I don't think I can hold the creative adjective for me in this forum.
Okay, was that 3?
3.
Okay, we'll pretend it's 3.
Collaborative, decisive, and passionate.
Okay,
yes.
Good.
I was like, wait, no. Yes.
Counting is not my strength. That's what Christian's for. Okay, so let's get into the pet care industry.
Yeah.
So one of the things that really blew my mind, because we buy a lot of your products.
Thank you.
Maybe it's because you have such a big market share. I wasn't aware that we were buying your products, but I did become aware of the far-reaching kind of nature of the Mars pet care empire, but was also impressed about that it seems to be like an ecosystem very deliberately built around a specific purpose.
Yes.
Can you talk more about your purpose and how you use it to make decisions and why the company's grown the way it has?
Absolutely. Thank you for the purchases. And so Mars as a whole has amazing things that make it as special and unique as it is. But I think the statement or the purpose of the company as its whole is the world we want tomorrow starts with how we do business today. I think that aligns with my values and with my passion and how I go through life. But then if you double click to pet, in pet, our purpose is a better world for pets. So making a better world for pets is not only about good nutrition or a good dental treat like Greenies that fights dental plague. You have to go beyond. You have to go into solutions that help pet parentship or pet ownership easier. You have to get into care. So we are one of the largest veterinary providers in the world, but also the largest in the US. And we have gone into different other verticals that create that ecosystem that you mentioned, that you can holistically improve the lives of pets and the pet parent experience. So that is, I guess, the vision behind the different businesses that the family has put together and how we go about addressing the pet care category.
And is the brand purpose, the stated brand purpose, very tightly linked to the vision of the Mars Petcare company?
Yes. Well, the different brands have different purpose statements.
Yeah.
For example, Pedigree. Pedigree is our largest dog food brand in the mainstream channels, and that brand has a purpose about adoption. So we believe that every dog deserves a loving home in Pedigree, and therefore the brand is intentionally about getting dogs adopted into houses and then having a good nutrition for life. So we unlock the good, or we feed the good, as we call it in our tagline. So that purpose is linked to the Petcare purpose of a better world for pets, and it's also linked to doing business in a world the way we want it to be tomorrow. So I think that the answer is they are all linked, but they get nuanced. Not all brands have exactly a purpose statement or a purpose cause. Some of our brands are in a different journey, and or maybe the tone is not necessarily needed to have a big purpose component of the brand strategy, but several of our brands do.
And how do you, when you think about either buying or acquiring or starting a new brand, how do you look and segment the market? How do you carve it up?
Market segmentation, partitions, looking at the landscape is certainly probably the fastest answer. The other answer is above my pay grade, so I don't play in those rooms where it happens to decide who would be acquired next or who would be built next. But definitely we do look at the marketplace, and there's some traditional things like price partition. You need to have an accessible brand or a price point where someone can afford just certain amount of nutrition, but it has to be complete and balanced for that budget. You could have another partition or space where you want to be, like Royal Canin, another brand of our family, where it's the highest nutrition you can go for, and it's formulated specifically for breeds and particular genetic and research-based formulas that are special for Dachshunds. Halibut eats Royal Canin Halibut formula, for example. Halibut formula, no. Dachshund formula. But the spectrum is big, and that's how we look at the market. And there could be spaces where we are not playing, and that could be a conversation of whether should it be a subline, should it be something that we would develop something new, or a conversation that goes into a boardroom that I'm not part of.
Okay. And how do you think about? I mean, obviously, one of the sort of genius moments that a lot of B2C brands are looking for is to sort of capture the cultural zeitgeist based on the ownership experience or some kind of trend in the marketplace. How does that work in the pet ownership category? How has that evolved over time, and where do you think it's going?
I love the question. I'll address it in two parts, if that's okay with you. Yeah. I'll start with how it's evolved. I think it's pretty ubiquitous that we're far from where the wolf roamed around the camping and someone offered food and they came and got domesticated. We're pretty far into the dog guarding the house and making sure it barks when there's a stranger, to now living inside, to now in your bed and now in your pillow. And I get more kisses of my dogs from my wife and daughters probably. And that could be statistically proven. And so the role that dogs play in our lives has just turbocharged, and they are like sons, like kids for families, and they have provided so much joy, so much mental stability, so much fulfillment to people around the world that I don't think that's going to go away. It's going to continue to go further. Now, how we go about it, we call it the pet parent journey. So we have mapped a very basic journey of, from the moment you acquire your pet. It could be a puppy, it could be an adopted, adult dog, or even a senior dog, but there's a moment in which the dog comes into your life. And then the journey that you go through in choosing, the nutrition, where the rules at the house, whether the bed, the bowl, everything in the journey, including when the dog gets sick, or we need to have preventative care, including end of life. So the pet parent journey is how we go about the different moments in pet ownership, and where our brands will focus or play a little bit more intentionally. So we will have brands that are focused more in the joy and there's the treating moments and the occasions where you are having that happy dance and that excitement, that coming back home from this trip, you should have a bag of pedigree dentist sticks, for example, and you give a dentist sticks, and they love you because you're back and you're treating. And then there's the other moments where there's a health benefit. And for example, IAMS, our brand that is more focused on affordable nutrition, would come in and play a role because, hey, I'm noticing insensitivities on my pet. So you would make a switch in nutrition, maybe informed by a vet, maybe informed by one of the tools that we have out there, but it is another moment in the pet parent journey. So we try to be very intentional about the innovation and the role our brands play in that thread.
Okay. And how do you, when you think about the future journey, the predicted journey that you think that people are going to take, how are you innovating your products to meet those needs? And do you find it can be very product led in that people will respond to an innovation? Or is it all really driven by some kind of consumer insight from the pet parent journey?
Both, I would say. The product journey follows very much the human parallels. So human nutrition, you can spot many of the human trends that are in food, that then they will come to pet care. For example, grain-free was a big trend that started in humans and then it came to pet. Paleo, or getting very intentional about meat first, and some of those things have come in, or the no-nos, all of the patty, no modified or no GMO, like all of those things that have become trends or in the human food world tend to come into pet, and we track them, and we sometimes are good about jumping on them at the right time, and sometimes we're late, and sometimes we're ahead of the game. It's a little bit of this tracking of trends. I think it was even discussed in the earlier conversation. Now, in the future and the evolution and the trend of the interaction, I think that's where it's the most exciting part, because it's beyond the ingredients. In the food, yes, you can dial up the quality of the nutrition, you can develop some science and to make it complete and balanced and provide benefits, but it's really in the experience. So how could we unlock that? All of us in this session could be with our pets, or preparing if we want to, right, or if we choose to, or affordable housing, or landlords that allow you to have pets with you, or cities that are designed and thought to be more pet friendly. We actually have this big program called Better Cities for Pets, and it's a Mars Petcare initiative where we have codified what are those best practices for a city to become pet friendly, and we help cities become certified and get the tools to know how to help this business, for example, and say, you know what, you have a patio, so probably your patio could become dog friendly. You should have some water balls. This is like a cleanup station that you should have. These are the permits. Like there's some advisory and leadership that we have put into place, and that's not highly tech necessarily. It's more policy, best practices, documenting, and we've expanded Better Cities for Pets. Austin is a certified city, by the way. And do we have over 200 cities? Over 200 cities that are already Better Cities for Pets certified, and you would not know necessarily that it's Mars, but it ties to our purpose. It ties to making the world a better place for pets. So that's why we do it.
Awesome. And you mentioned it not being necessarily very tech oriented, but what role is technology playing in the future of your business?
We're having fun with AI. AI has come in and been a tool in different ways. If we have time, I'll take two examples.
Yeah, go ahead. You can play.
For example, pedigree. I mentioned earlier that its purpose is about adoption. Through the years, we've been putting campaigns out there that help people adopt dogs. That's really the intention. And the latest campaign on pedigree is called Adoptables, and it leverages AI to, instead of us having a photo shoot studio, beautiful picture in our ads of a dog, a pedigree dog in our bag or in a billboard, with with AI, we're able to take, with only 2 photos of an adoptable dog in a shelter, we take that dog, we put it on a rotation on an ad that is geo-targeted for the zone, and that you can scan or click on, and it's an adoptable dog in your area. People click on it. The moment the dog gets adopted, with AI, we drop that image and put another available dog from the shelter. Mm-hmm. So that has been a fantastic use of tech to truly get the dogs in your area be seen and adopted.
Yeah.
Other completely different application of AI has been with IAMS, where, I mentioned earlier, it's affordable science or affordable nutrition. So it's no secret, veterinary is expensive. Veterinary care is one of the biggest barriers for having proper treatment for your pet. But IAMS has a free service that you go in the website and you can type questions to licensed practitioners of any health issue that your pet might be having. There's a number of other tools that are coming that are also leveraging AI. But I would say AI has been an unlocker for us to democratize solutions of pet parentship. Mm-hmm. Of pet ownership.
Very cool. What are the biggest challenges when you do your SWOT or your plans for this year? What are the biggest challenges that you see in the category? I mean, we haven't switched from IAMS in years.
Yeah.
So I'm projecting that.
Thank you for that.
The people that are fairly loyal. I don't know if that's the case, but
yes.
What are the marketing challenges that you face that you feel constitute big headwinds for you?
You're right. The apprehension to switch is real, and it's a barrier. It is mapped in our pet parent journey, and typically it doesn't happen unless there's a trigger, and that trigger could be we call it back-end performance. I'm sorry, we're in a restaurant, but yes, back-end performance refers to poop. But if there's an issue with your dog's digestion of the food, likely you're gonna look for something, or you're gonna ask a vet, or you're gonna go online, and that's the moment where we need to have information available. We need to be ready to listen what the consumers are saying, and we have a team that is monitoring social listening, and it's ready to either respond and offer a solution, or we could have lost them. So that's a moment. Another moment is pricing, affordability and disposable income. The reality is that many of us could go through life and make choices of, hey, I might skip this dinner this week, or maybe I'm going to cut back on my coffee, a little bit on the coffee outside, and I'm going to brew my first cup at home. Like, there's some choices like that, and that influence also behavior on how much you're going to treat your pet, how much you're going to give them a Caesar wet food on top of their kibble. So those are typically the biggest 2 moments in which people look at other options, and we need to be ready, either to answer, provide information, or an option, or deal with the consequence of then getting them back.
Okay. And I think we're running out of time, but you probably have 2 minutes for this, or 3 minutes, and I'm just going to let you go on this one, because I think it's one of the things I think is very impressive about all the Mars companies is how purpose-driven they are, and how you've already talked about some of the initiatives where there's not really some direct payback for what you're doing, but they're on purpose and living into your mission. I hear rumblings about a coral reef restoration efforts.
Yes.
Sounds very exciting. Tell everyone about it.
That's the thing that I'm most passionate about, and it answered that question earlier of the headhunter and why I stayed in this company. Remember, I said the world we want tomorrow starts with how we do business today, and that compass is set by the family, and because it's a family-owned business, and yes, many things that we do or the company does are guided by the freedom that we have of not being restrained to shareholders, the stock market, or we can make decisions that are thinking in generations. The family can take that freedom and say, like, you know what, it's the right thing to do for today and for the future and for our kids and our grandkids. Coral restoration is something that started over a decade ago, and Mars decided that the way we collect from this planet, the same way we have responsible agricultural practices and cocoa farming practices and many things in our industries, we are also taking from the ocean, and we had to do something about it, and we had to give back. milk. So Mars has been committed to coral restoration for over a decade. A few years ago, we decided to make that a little bit more public and integrated with a brand. So we tied it to Shiba. Shiba is our cat food brand, and if you have seen a cartoon where two things cat eats in cartoons: a bowl of milk and a fish, right? There's always, so look, cats love fish, but if we don't have healthy corals, there won't be fish tomorrow. So the whole initiative is more coral today equals more fish tomorrow. And it's not selfless. Someone could say, well, yeah, that's because you're taking that fish and putting it into cat food. Yeah, but the same way we are harvesting from, cornfields and cocoa farms, we harvest from the ocean, we need to give back and we need to protect it. So it's a beautiful story. It's a great journey. It's now the largest coral restoration program in the world, but no one knows about it. So probably in this room, if someone says Mars, the next thing you would say is like, oh, M&Ms and Snickers. And you're like, oh, I know Mars. Then it would be like, oh, they have pet food? Yeah, well, there's a few brands that you might be like, oh, yeah, I feed Iams. But the dream is that what if the world would know about this effort and some of the other purpose-driven initiatives that as a company we're funding and we're standing behind, would they have a higher emotional affiliation with the brand and would they choose our portfolio? That's the hypothesis from the marketing side. And so this is a film, this is a documentary that's going to tell that story. I can't wait for that to be released. It's going to be previewed later today, and I can't wait for the world to see it, because hopefully they're as proud as we are to be working on something like that.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. That's it. It's been a pleasure. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.